Is there any other questions you would like to answer or that need to, any stories you would like to tell us?
Well, I could probably tell you. I found that in the Navy when I went in to help my mom basically.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did go in, like I say, I was very young. It was 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, and I spent 20 years and 6 months, and I think 11 days and some odd hours. But I used to know all of that debate. But what I remember was the fact that it was an education to me. Going around, you don't realize, but that going around the world and seeing other places and other people and how they live and things of that nature, a couple of things happen. You get to appreciate the liberties that we have, and you really it really shows the liberties that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that by seeing these other countries and how these other people live, it's an education in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I never could have paid for it with my own money or anything to go all different places, because I've been virtually all over the world. I've been to Japan, Hong Kong. I've been all over Europe, to Denmark, Sweden, Germany, France, Britain. Even down south, I was when I was in stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. I was one of the squadrons I was in was a weather reconnaissance squadrons, and we were called the world famous hurricane hunters because we flew into and out of hurricanes to track them and
Mm-hmm.
to see if that was possible, because they changed course so many times. And we also plotted the direction, like I say, and then we also measured their strength, and there are various ways we could do that and things of that nature. So we were like trying to help people on the ground in various places
Mm-hmm.
prepare and realize the ferociousness of these storms. They're very ferocious, and a lot of times you be out there flying, and one of the things we had to do when we started the penetration run in on the storm, the eye of a storm, we went right into the eye, flew right into the eye.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we had to do was to keep the water in sight the whole time. We started out at 1,000 feet above water and 80 miles out, and we would fly into the eye that way. One of the criteria that we had to have was, and we had a meteorologist aboard, he had to keep the wind right on our wingtip to more or less push us into the storm, and
Mm-hmm.
and the meteorologist had the control, and he told the pilot what heading to, right, so that it makes sure the wind is right on the wingtip. Because what happened if we were to have that wind go behind us, we'd lose our lift,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd go right into the drink or into the water, and so we couldn't have that. So you had to ensure that was right on the wingtip, and it more or less pushed you right into the storm. And while you were flying in, I was able to see out of one of our portals
Mm-hmm.
or windows the raging what we call feeder bands, and those feeder bands you'd see what you call water spouts on land that would be called tornadoes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you see 4 or 5 at a run that you went in any particular feeder band. Those were the feeder bands you had to stay away from, because
Mm-hmm.
they were very ferocious. Like I say, they had that kind of weather, and so we stayed away from those. But going into and flying into the eye, and then that was the uniqueness of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that it showed me was in the eye. When you were in the eye, I could look up and I could see blue sky above, and look down, and the sea state was calm,
Mm-hmm.
but all around us was a raging storm, and we had to pick our way out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we had the radar for, and we utilized that to pick our way out of the storm. And we penetrated about 3 times in 11 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We had a flight time normally about 11, somewhere between 10 and 11 hours, and depending on our flight pattern, things that we flew. But that was one thing. Then there was something else. Oh, well, the heart attack that I experienced was really traumatic also, and it was life-changing, really. I had it when I was like 47 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent about 29 days in the hospital, and it was unusual to spend that much time in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Then 4 years after that, I went in with quadruple bypass, and only spent 5 days in the hospital. So you can see the difference between the two. I really came up with, I think, double pneumonia also because of the fluid back up into my lungs, and I had nowhere else to go but to the lungs. So it caused me to come up with double pneumonia. So they didn't think I was going to live at all. So, but I was able to do that. Then another thing, though, that in researching history, I was curious about my own family because of the way I look. As you can tell, I'm a little bit different, but I know what I am, and I know who I am. But I am a little bit different, so that caused me to be a little inquisitive about my family background. And on my father's side, his mother, she came from a family out in New Jersey, and I researched that through a book that I found in the library, and was able to contact people back there, was able to go back there to. The town is called Ghoultown, New Jersey, and it's near Bridgeton. And I went there and met some of my relatives and things there, and they told me stories about how there were, and this book also told stories about how there were 5 families that intermarried to keep the complexion like mine or whatever, you know. And they did that in those times. And they said this one woman, she told me that some of the people moved away in those years. You got to understand that in those years, early 1900s. Segregation, it didn't behoove you to be black in our country. And so she said some of the family members would move away, and the purpose of their moving away was that they would pass for white, and they would disown their own people. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't understand how they could do that, but they did. And this is how, and it was amazing to me how the lengths that people will go to just to keep a complexion or whatever, you know what I mean? And to me that's not the most important thing in life. The most important thing in life is how you feel about yourself, and how you take pride in yourself and are able to take pride in yourself. But and we want to ensure that, and that was one of the purposes or ideas that we worked on with this museum, was that we wanted our people to realize it and be able to take great pride in themselves, and we realize some of the the past that we and honor, and not to ignore the past, but to expound upon the past so that we can better ourselves for the future.
So, if there isn't any other stories you would like to tell us,
no, I don't.
We thanks for having you. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.